All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Gervonta Tank Davis will be fighting Leo Santa Cruz this Halloween in San Antonio, Texas in a pay-per-view, but he's got competition now. Yeah, he does. Because the great monster Inoue is also fighting on Halloween in, according to ESPN, his American debut. Oh no, we got somebody greater than Vasyl Lomachenko coming to take over American boxing. Let's talk about the huge mistake Gervonta Davis is making by having a fight at the same time as the international superstar monster Inoue. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So the United States has a international superstar, megastar, multi-divisional champion, monster Inoue, been on Steve Kim's #1 pound for pound. He's been #1 on pound for pound on Steve Kim's list for like 10 years now. Despite the fact that ain't none of y'all ever heard of him, many of y'all ain't never heard of him, and the fact that even of the people that have heard of him, maybe 1 out of 10 of the people that have heard of him have actually ever seen him fight. But he is coming to the United States to fight on a card, signed with Top Rank, is going to be fighting on ESPN the same night as Leo Santa Cruz, Gervonta Tank Davis. Now, ESPN is some interesting people because they are definitely finding themselves in situations where they are having to have their fighters go up and be on television in what I'm going to tell you are absolutely no-win situations, okay? Tyson Fury is rumored to be fighting some Joe Blow guy on December, what was that date that they gave? December 5th on ESPN, the same day that Errol Spence Jr. versus Danny Garcia is going to be taking place in Dallas, Texas for a pay-per-view fight. Well, ESPN is now doing it again, but this time to the one on Halloween with Gervonta Davis and Leo Santa Cruz. Now, let me get into this. First and foremost, this is just another hype job. Okay, we saw Monster Inoue fight Nonito Donaire. When I saw him fight Nonito Donaire, it was like, okay, this is just a matter of time before this guy loses. Okay, and he was fighting Nonito Donaire at 118 pounds. Or yeah, if he goes anywhere near 122, or if he runs into a guy, say like Louis Neary, he's gonna get knocked, because this is a guy that they're trying to build up and they're trying to convince you that is a star. He's not the guy that you put on TV and he keeps putting spectacular performance after spectacular performance against, and then you get interested in him. You decide you want to follow him. You start talking about him, and then the networks and everything pick up on him because you're talking about him. No, you get told about him because they want you to know about him. And that's the difference between a hype job and what I consider to be like a organically grown champion. Like, that's the difference between a Vasyl Lomachenko and a Floyd Mayweather Jr. We were told how great Vasyl Lomachenko is, and no matter what he did to prove otherwise, people continued to push how great he was. The media kept pushing how great it was, up until the point that people just start accepting that he's that great, and they won't say anything different. Even though you can look right there and you'll be like, hold on, man, this guy is the greatest since how long? He's the greatest since a young Ali, but he's 14-1. What about this loss? Well, what did ESPN do to help out with that little loss when they were trying to sell Lomachenko? They just acted like the loss didn't happen. They put his record as 14-0-1 when his record was 14-1. And it was not just done once. It was done multiple times. So now you have ESPN. And what does Joe Tessitore do? He sits up there and puts this thing on the paper, and he's like, puts it on the screen, or whoever the producers are, put it on the screen. ESPN puts it on the screen, and it says, Monster Inoue makes his American debut. And I was like, man, come on, man. Do any of your producers over there on ESPN actually watch boxing? When you write these things down and you start going, and I'm sure that you have producers, you have a meeting and you talk about the different things that you're going to push, the different, what your major themes are, And clearly with Joe Tessitore, for Undisputed was one really big thing that he was on in the Teofimo Lopez Vasyl Lomachenko fight, because he kept saying it every 5 minutes. And then he also kept saying that if Vasyl Lomachenko wins, he's the greatest fighter since the end of the Floyd Mayweather Jr. era. It was like, first of all, dude, what? That's Andre Ward is there and Terrence Crawford is there. So number one, that sounds stupid. Number two, dude, did you really just say Monster Inoue is making his American debut? When he fought in 2017 on one of the last cards to be put on Showtime on HBO, Monster Inoue was part of one of the cards that shut down HBO and was not very popular. He was headlined, and Monster was headlined on one of those cards. And very few people turned in to watch. It was one of the cards where they put on Monster Inoue, and then more people watched the Showtime card, right? They got less. That was during one of the cards, Monster Inoue, where more people watched Showtime cards than were watching HBO cards. And that's when HBO was like 3 times the size of Showtime. That should never happen. But when they put Monster Inoue and Chocolatito and those little itty bitty dudes on there, that's exactly what happened. So, okay, ESPN, go ahead and believe him about this Monster Inoue thing and keep pushing and selling him as the next pound for pound #1 guy. Because you know that's coming. Okay? You know it's coming, and I'm getting you ready for it coming right now. That's what they're going to pitch. And now, as far as him going head-to-head with Gervonta Davis on this pay-per-view, this is the story that is more than likely. This is the story that's going to get pushed. They're going to say that they're going to dump on Gervonta Davis's pay-per-view, because Gervonta Davis's pay-per-view is going to do somewhere around 200,000. Say it does 250,000 pay-per-view buys, right? Just say it does that, and I think it could do that because not Teofimo Lopez. Leo Santa Cruz is a very well-known name in the United States. I don't think he's ever been on a pay-per-view, or if he has, he's been on the pay-per-view. It was on the undercard, but he is most definitely an attraction. It is well-known, and people are excited about the fight. But Gervonta Davis just in and of himself brings his own star power to the equation, because, look, man, I would not have believed that Gervonta Davis would have been able to sell out Carson Stadium in California. And I can't remember who he fought. Was it Hugo Chavez or somebody? But it was a guy with a Spanish last name. I don't believe he was Mexican. I believe that he was South American. But it was a guy with the Spanish last name that not a lot of people heard of. And he went and he had a fight in Carson, California. And I do believe that Carson, California, that's like that dome, that bowl that they have those fights in, that the large parts of that of the people that attend fights in that stadium are Mexicans. And so the people that went to the fight when Gervonta Davis sold out were like shocked. They were like, man, I didn't realize Gervonta Davis had this many Mexican fans, because the place was sold out. He was the attraction, and there was no big name Mexican fighter on there. And when people are walking around asking him about when, and this is Cali Enigma. Cali Enigma was saying he was talking to people in the fight, and they were like, man, no, we don't even know who the fighter is. We're here. We're trying to see Gervonta Davis. When I go around Austin, Texas, and I talk to people who they like about boxing, who they like in boxing, people say Gervonta Davis is their favorite fighter. So it should do somewhere around 250,000 pay-per-views. I mean, and we're taking off some numbers because it is a pandemic, and I do believe that could affect it. That could affect it somewhat. But the dude is a legitimate star, man. A legitimate star. Not like Monster Inoue. Monster Inoue is going to be another fake. He's going to be another fake foreign fighter that comes over here that people are going to act like is the greatest thing since sliced bread, because the promoter is trying to sell him. And all the time that we're going to be spinning, talking about what a great fighter Monster Inoue is, and deflecting and having conversations that will say things like, well, if he's such a great fighter, why did he go the distance and look like he was about to get beat up by Monster Inoue? I mean, get beat up by Nonito Donaire. How could a 35-year-old, 36-year-old Nonito Donaire move down multiple weight classes, drain himself, get in the ring with Monster Inoue and almost beat him? How come a guy that old who lost most of his speed can still connect on shots that cleanly with Monster Inoue and gash his face up like that? Monster Inoue is going to go away as soon as he gets in there with a decent 122 pounder. I promise you. But the question is going to be with Monster Inoue is exactly what top ranked fighter Bob Arum will feed him to when he's tired, when he's done, and he feels like he can't make no more money off him. But during the whole time, there'll be a whole group of young black fighters or young Mexican fighters from America that will not be getting any of the press that they would be getting if ESPN and Top Rank weren't set on going that route with Monster Inoue. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think. And with that, I'm out. Peace.